John, go left.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going left.
Yeah. Then you'll get your, anything you buy there, you get 10%.
Okay.
And then you get great coupon and your dividend and all that stuff.
I remember that, yeah. Well, I used to buy all my backpacks, sleeping bags. Had a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, they lost track of you. We'll help them find you again.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they don't want to find me. Boy, Tommy, we can get a nice shot here.
Okay.
They're going to get ahead of us or behind us or what? They should be ahead.
Yeah, I want to get ahead of you.
Yeah.
Ahead.
Good picture of sweat pouring down John's brow here. Yeah.
It's not bad.
No. You want to do a little here? Or?
This is hazardous job here.
Right over. There's more leaves here since Monday. They're starting to fall. One day.
That's two. Cutting.
I got it.
Thank
All right.
you.
I got it.
Yeah. Since we're adding more to it.
Okay, where's the trash?
Right take that.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you say that again?
Let's fix this hole right here. Yeah, put some dirt in there.
Can't find a high spot here. Get some dirt from it.
Yeah, clean off the stuff and then go ahead. We need to put some dirt in there.
We don't want to talk about Howard.
No, definitely not. It's a pretty good hole.
You can go ahead.
It's hanging out over the tree. What?
And tell me what you're doing right now.
I'm trimming this off that's hanging onto the trail. The pane. It's something we have to do all the time. It's just constant.
Could you say that again? What you're
Clear
trying?
debris after the flood.
I'll get it, man. You get that trash bag.
Well, I'm trying to get a hold ahead of
You
Peter.
can leave the trash bag inside the wheelbarrow.
Just trying to get a hold ahead of Peter.
Kill this stuff.
Could you say that again?
Beavers, you know, is one of the things. They're great to have around, but they do kill a lot of trees along the trail. So this is some beaver damage here. It's pretty old though. Yeah, it's probably been a while. Although they've gnawed this area right here has probably been done within the last year. But they're The trail's actually pretty good. It hasn't had too much damage from the flood. You can see there's some stuff pulled up here, but the trail itself basically only has a little bit of river silt left over from it. It makes it a little slippery, but that'll dry out pretty soon. There's a trip root. So you see when I tripped on it. So what we want to do is we always want to cut those out. Well, go ahead.
Can you go ahead and run your foot over that again?
Okay.
That's right.
Trip root.
Yep.
Okay. Now I would dig it out of here, and you're standing there.
Okay. Yep.
See a little hustle here, Peter.
Okay.
Hi ho, hi ho.
I'll find some nice native plants for you.
Okay, why don't you get your camera right now? Norma, would you stay here and get these students across here so they don't get hurt? Just tell them about it. I mean, you can't.
I will.
Okay, you all right?
Yeah. Go down, walk down sideways and up.
Come on up. There's a kind of a hard crossing right here.
And what is that you're observing there?
The height of the water.
See all of this?
Can you just
Saturday at noon.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Can you just say that in a full sentence?
I said, look at how the height of the water was up over 20 feet, and here's the silt. The silt came over here, and now it's back to normal again. I mean, it's amazing. In just a few days, the water is, I would say, 90% normal. So there's a lot of water here. That's a good 20 feet down.
Great. Could you start that sentence over?
I'm saying we have to cut these logs that fall across the trail, but we don't want to cut them too wide because four-wheelers might come down here, and this would prevent them from coming through there because it's too narrow. So we try to keep it so that a wheelbarrow or a person can walk through, but not a four-wheeler.
Just wide enough for a...
Right. So we cut them short on purpose.
Yeah, rather than making it 8 feet wide.
Sometimes they used to be in
Can you start that over?
I said, when you see a riffle in the river like that, where there's rocks that go all the way across, sometimes it's natural and sometimes it's man-made, where they used it as a ford in colonial times to cross back and forth across the river. So you don't know. It's been, you know, a couple 100 years, so you can't really tell at this stage.
Right now, we still have some of these orange flags along the trail. Sorry. Basically, we use those to mark the trail initially. And then as we get the trail done, then we go and start putting on blazes, which is this white blaze that signifies the Mountains to Sea Trail. So then we'll pick these things up as we're going along. And that's kind of the intent. So you'll see them here. We kind of leave them we're kind of in the intermediate stage of taking some of them out and putting the blazes up.
You're referring... Say that one more time?
Okay, so this is a blaze, although this is kind of a temporary. They're a brighter white to signify the Mountains to Sea Trail. And the red flag, red or orange flags or whatever they are basically what we use to initially do the trail. In fact, they've already been moved. They were originally in the middle of the trail where the trail is.
Okay.
Okay, can you tell us about this fence here along the trail?
Yeah, you know, some of the times when we get property, there's a negotiation that goes on.
Start that sentence over. Sorry, your mic.
When the county obtains the property and gets easements, like I said previously, this is private property, and the county Parks and Recs got an easement through here. But as part of the negotiation to get it, they agreed to put a fence up. And so this property owner was a very good negotiator and got a very nice fence put up. And they're keeping horses in there. So the fence took, negotiating with him and getting it done took several months. And it was kind of a hold-up for a while because we had to know where the fence was before we put the trail in.
And did the property owner build the fence and pay for the fence? Or
No, the county built and paid for the fence. Like I said, he was a very good negotiator.
Mary, I'm struggling to explain about the blazes, so we're going to have to kind of flip around here.
Can you explain to us what the white blazes are and the red flags on the
Okay,
trail?
basically when we start building a trail, one of the things that we do is we go in and flag where the trail is going to go. And so that's what their little stems of and sometimes it's red, orange, something like that. And so then the people that are coming in that are building the trail know where to go. After the trail's built, then the trail is blazed. And for the Mountains to Sea trail, it's a white, round, 3-inch circle. Now this trail will also be blazed with the Haw River Trail blaze, which is a really special. It's several colors. It's a 3-color blaze, and they'll come in and put that in at some point. So this particular section of the Mountains of Sea Trail is also the Haw River Trail, which goes basically the whole length of the county.
Okay. How long is the Haw River Trail? And how much of it overlaps
Yeah,
with the
I
Mountains
think
of
its total length will be about 45 miles. This section is about 4.6 miles from basically Stony Creek Marina through Red Slide Park, which is where we parked.
So Mary, let's save kind of the interview questions for when we have the tripod. So right now we'll just do the show and tell.
Okay, I think we should keep going.
Yeah.
Alright.
But if you see something else of interest
Yep.
to show and tell, let us know.
Okay.
To get all these. We waited here before going over because there's a little mini. Got it?
Yeah.
Hey, Bob. Things change fast.
Hang on, and go ahead.
Okay. Over.
And there's some more back. There's some more back the other way. You've got that tree on top of the...
Oh, I moved tree. Whoop. Okay. All right. I'm trying to knock your teeth out. Oh. Careful. All right.
No, that... Yeah, watch yourself.
Don't belong here.
Okay.
Okay, Greg, can you tell me about this bridge that we're on?
Yeah, one of the things along this trail is that there's several of these gullies. In fact, there's 18 of them. And so on many of them, about half of those we're putting bridges on. This happens to be a fairly long bridge. It's a 24-foot bridge. And yeah, to answer your questions, about bridges, we built the bridges and the county supplies the materials. This is probably close to the longest bridge that we would build, about 24 feet. Beyond that, you have some structural issues, but these are something we can typically build. We have some volunteers that are fairly knowledgeable about bridge building, and that's part of what their job was in the past. And so one of our volunteers designed this bridge, and we built it on a work day.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
All right.
So what do you think about this part of the trail? I mean, just look down at it. What's different about this?
Yeah, it's got the berm on the
Yeah, it's been cut down pretty deep, and what we call, so just if you ask a question about that, then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Ready.
Why does this trail look different here? Why is it higher on the left side?
Okay, the trail is a little bit different here, and this is not, you know, it's somewhat not typical for here. We call this a bench cut, and basically you can see where it's been taken down pretty deep along this side, and so it kind of looks like a bench. It goes down and then flattens out. This is really typical in the mountains. So if you were up there, you would have seen a lot of these. Down here, we don't, a lot of it is flat, and so we don't need to do it, but every now and then we do need to do a bench cut, and that's basically what we're going to be working on. So yeah, we could go all the way to here.
We're debating. Which way to bench cut and which way to change
Along
the
here,
trail.
just slant.
Okay, what basically happened is when the trail was originally in, it was marked, and we actually got a little bit off track. So there's a bad hill there.
How they initially marked the trail.
So what's he doing right now?
He's beginning a bench cut. So we're going to move the trail over there where he is. And so we're going to dig a bench cut out.
Bench cut.
Looks like a
Now-
seat when you finish.
Unfortunately, we should have had a mattock with us, and we didn't bring it down here.
Can you tell us again what a bench cut is?
Okay, a bench cut is you're on a hillside like this, a steep hillside,
Think of a bench.
and what you want to do is you want to flatten a trail out in there. And so you're basically putting in, like, it got a bench name because it's kind of like, if you think about it, in a stadium or an outdoor theater where, you know, you just sit on the grass, you have these kind of rolly benches where you can sit. And so that's what the name came from, and it's from in the mountains. So part of what we have to do is get a
You want to figure
line.
out where you're going before you
Yeah,
start doing
so-
the finish work.
How long does it take to do a bench cut?
This one will be very short. I mean, 30 minutes, maybe. Some of them take hours.
I don't know about that. But.
Some of them take hours.
Okay, you want to do some. It's kind of hard to get too many people in here, but.
But if you look at this profile, you're really seeing a bench. This is the back of the bench. This is the seat of the bench. Then these are basically fire tools from the
Yeah.
West that have been adopted for trail building. It's actually, if you look up the history of it, it's an African tool they used for it was made of wood, but they used it for yams in Africa.
And what's this tool called again?
A road hoe.
Yeah, the real it's actually a hazel hoe.
Can you just say that in a full sentence with the tool?
Okay, the name of this tool is a hazel hoe, or that's the name of it. But we refer to it as a rogue hoe. That's the people that produce it. It's got rogue on it. So it's one of those things where it gains its own name by the people that are using it. But I think that from the people that use them, it was developed, it was a hazel hoe. There are other people that make it, they just don't look exactly like this. This got an interesting story, John. Why don't you talk about it?
Hey, Greg.
What's that?
You know, for our purposes, it might.
Watch out, John. Okay. You like to have a clearance on a trail of about 8 feet high, and putting your arms out like this, being able to walk through without the
tree limbs bothering you.
Come back out.
Well, he's got one right there. There's another one.
Oh. Yeah, if I may ignore you too much. Forget you there.
All right, here's one here. Let me get this one.
Yeah, the only way to learn is to do it.
Yeah.
Peter, you don't want the water to run down the trail, you want to run the water
Yeah,
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
trail.
All right, watch out.
So you want the
In the ground there.
This is a good way to discover roots. Superficial roots.
There we go.
What are you looking for right now?
We want the trail to kind of look natural, that you would naturally go this way. We'll have to block this off, the older part of the trail. So when you come here, you don't want to have to feel like you're taking a diversion. So I'm lining up the trail, and you just kind of keep doing that as you're going along. Damn.
There you go.
Jeez.
Good job. Okay, I'm rolling.
Okay, Greg, can you tell me a little bit about how you first got into hiking trails?
Well, I started hiking trails when I was about 8 years old. I lived in West Virginia, big hillside behind us.
And how did you start getting into volunteering, working on the trails?
Well, I've been hiking pretty much all my life. I worked, my employment basically prevented me from doing much trail work, although I did do trail maintenance probably starting 15 years ago. And then as I got closer to retirement, we started building a trail near my home. So that's where I started volunteering in Greensboro. And that was probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And so I, again, got the experience now, and so one of the more experienced trail builders in this area.
Can you tell me a little bit about how much work goes into volunteering and building a trail? If you're coming out for the workday, like most people are, you basically just come to the workday and you put in, whatever that is, usually around 6 hours, 6-7 hours, plus your travel time. And that's generally once a month for the area where you're building. Now, the MST, of course, goes across the whole state, and if you're in this area, there's opportunities to work in Guilford County and Orange County and Durham County. But for the trail, the task force leader, it's a little bit more of a job. It's almost a half-time job. Can you speak a little bit to how important the volunteers are to the trail?
Well, having volunteers is basically the only way we can get it done. If you look at what we're doing out here, and just we have 6 people out here today. Getting 6 paid employees to do this would just be totally prohibitive in building a trail. In fact, they wouldn't use manual labor. They would try to do it with some kind of
automated equipment, which is used sometimes. It doesn't make for as an aesthetic looking trail. And so the MST basically relies very heavily on volunteers to build the trail.
How many volunteers are in this area that work on the trail?
Well, we probably had over the last year and a half close to 100 people come out. But in general, we have somewhere between 15 and 30 people on a work day.
How many work days do you usually have throughout a season?
I'm sorry, how many?
How many work days do you have throughout a season? How often do you come out?
Well, we'll try to, when we're building a trail like this, you know, how often do we meet? Well, we try to do it every month. But obviously weather conditions, you know, cause that to not happen. But we have, you know, worked in light rain. We've actually worked here in the wintertime just after it snowed, which was an experience.
Back to hiking the trail, what is it that really draws you to a trail and to hiking a long distance of a trail?
Well, you know, where we're standing right here, if you look around you, you know, we got this river rolling by. You know, you have that sound of the river. You're walking through a forest. You see a lot of, you know, nature and animals and, you know, things, plants. Plus, it's a place for solitude. It's a place for you to walk, you know, kind of gingerly and kind of let your mind wander. You know, a trail isn't that hard to follow most of the time. And so, you know, it's a good place for, some people call that white time. You know, you're just thinking and just relaxing.
How much of the Mountains to Sea Trail have you hiked?
Okay, I completed the Mountains to Sea Trail. I did it, I section hiked it and completed it in 2014.
What's your favorite part of the Mountains to Sea Trail?
Oh, yeah, I get asked that a lot. Living here, I hiked many of these trails before I decided to do the Mountains to Sea Trail, especially in the mountains. So I like the mountains better, and particularly Linville Gorge. So I'd have to pick that as the best. However, I'm not really a beach person. I rarely go to the beach, but the Mountains to Sea Trail goes 80 miles up the beach. And so when I did that, I actually enjoyed that. And so the good thing about it was I would not have done it. I would never even have spent that much time on the beach if it hadn't been for trying to do the MST. So that was the more pleasant experience.
Can you think of one of your most memorable experiences on the Mountains to Sea Trail? Something that really stands out in your mind?
Yeah, well, you know, the people you talk to, I think, that you meet along the way. There's a, you know, when you're hiking through the mountains, you go through little small towns. One of the nice experiences was there's a campground at the base of Mount Mitchell called, I think it's called Black Mountain Campground. The people there that ran it were really great, and it was a great place to stay. The other thing was I hiked a lot of the mountain portions with my wife. So that was a challenge in itself, and so it brings you closer together about a lot of things. So it was good.
What are some challenges that you experience while hiking a trail, whether you're by yourself or with your wife or someone else?
Well, if you're section hiking, it's logistics. It's, you know, okay, where do you park? Well, how much do you hike that day? Where's your end point? You know, and having and then you may have somebody picking you up. But it's figuring out, you know, doing basically the planning.
And then as far as volunteering, what are some challenges that you face when it comes to working on the trail?
Well, I think that, you know, for the Mountains to Sea Trail, like I had mentioned, there's other opportunities in the counties adjacent to here. And so about half the people, or maybe more than half the people, 2/3 of the people that have been working on this trail are outside of this county. So you can't, you want to basically not infringe upon their, so we try to organize those work days so they're not on the same weekends, the ones that are close. And sometimes we can do that, sometimes not. And then you have weather conditions and whether you cancel the work day, and Those are kind of big things because you're waiting till the last minute. And you know what it's like to rely on a forecast. It's not too great.
Right. Great. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you yet about the trail that you'd like to mention, whether it's about your personal experiences hiking or volunteering on the trail?
Well, the one thing about that I'd talk a little bit about that we haven't talked about concerning this particular section of the trail is, like I think I'd said before, this is also the Haw River Trail. And a lot of places where the trail goes, you don't have this vision of where it's going to go. Here they have that. So they got 45 miles, they know where it's going to go. It's going to go one side of this river or the other. And so everybody that's volunteering out here knows that. And so that's a nice, it's nice to be able to know that and communicate that. And so they have the same challenges of getting the land, and basically we're working with one government entity for that whole 45 miles, which is another great thing rather than, 10 or something, which we might be doing in other places, or at least certainly more than one.
I just have one more question. If you could, I'll ask Mary.
What's the greatest thing about the Mountains to Sea Trail?
Basically, it goes across the, okay, well, let me rephrase that, sorry. The best thing about, hiking the Mountains to Sea Trail, or having it, is basically it goes across the entire state. It showcases the state. And, I've learned so much in hiking the trail about North Carolina. For one, like how much cotton we grow. I had no concept of how much cotton is grown out in the east without hiking the trail. You're out there and you're walking on a basis that's pretty boring, but you learn a lot. You get to talk to a lot of people. Just these, you're just walking down a road and there's only one little convenience store or miles, and you go in there and talk with them and they've got some story to tell you. And so it's basically getting to know North Carolina in a much more detailed, depth, way.
Great. Any other questions, team members?
Great, thank you.
That's not much bigger.
We got somebody's bag in here.
Go ahead.
So basically, we're going to go in here and we're going to try to improve these this rock step up this fairly steep incline right here. This was initially done, and so what we're going to do now is try to do a little bit more, make it a little bit more comfortable to go up there, easy to go up. And we've got a load of rock here now that we can do this with.
So this was kind of a temp job, just meanwhile.
Well, I wouldn't call it a temp. It's just basically it's the initial work, and you're trying to get the whole basically the trail done so people start using it. And we have the time now, so we're going to work on it. And it's something you kind of write down, and when you can get to it, you work on it. And this is an opportunity, so we're going to work on it today.
Okay.
Good.
Let's pull the wheelbarrow back a little bit.
Okay.
Now, I said, unfortunately, one of the things about building trails in this area is that we don't do that much rock work. If you're in the mountains, you're doing this all the time. So the problem is having enough people with experience to do rock work, and you just don't get it because there's not that much to do.
Right.
So basically, I learned my rock work somewhere else, in the mountains and on trails where it was important. Okay, so the big thing about doing this is what you want to do is you want to start at the bottom and you want a base. So you got to get the base done first. And part of the thing is, I'm trying to decide here, do I pull those out? I don't want to damage my tool while I'm in there digging this out. Yeah, that's not that big a rock, so I'm just going to pull it out of there. And hopefully when, if you guys put this on air, you don't call it temporary, because the person that put it in here might be looking at it.
No, we won't use that. We'll send that clip just to that person.
Yeah.
found some more rocks somewhere?
I don't know. We'll see what we have here. It's just kind of like, you know, if you think about it, it's a little bit like, you know, if you were building a foundation in your house. You know, the old days before they had concrete, they'd be doing the same thing.
So what do you want, the biggest rock here at the bottom?
Yeah, the biggest rock that we can get in there.
Okay.
The one on the bottom?
The one on the bottom, naturally.
Let's lay it on. We'll just lay. Yeah, this one.
There's a good one.
So you can see it starts moving around. So then you got to start adjusting it.
How did you guys determine that this was a place that this needed it? This needed this?
Okay, well, if you look, if you take the trail this way, you're just going down through a gully, and basically wherever you go, you have to do the same thing. You've got to come up because it's basically a steep bank for a long ways. And this is going to get water in it fairly often. So you really don't want to be in here. But like we said, we've got about 35 feet here or something to put the trail in. There's an easement right there. We don't want to be in the easement because the easement is very high maintenance. While this may get flooded and may have water on it, just like this, it will solve itself. And you don't have to come, you may have to come in here and pick up some debris or something, but it's only when you have a flood. It's not 3 times or 4 times during a summer where you're getting 6-foot high growth in that easement. Bob knows a lot about that. He's been out here trimming it. It's all right here. A little bit of the problem with this one is that it's too close to that root. And so you got this,
what root? What's on
top of this root.
Rock?
The question is, see, you got this step, and then what do you do here?
Right.
And if you're coming down, it's a bigger problem.
Right.
So it would actually be nice to have a step there and then one down here somewhere.
Right. You want to pull that
So we can use the root, but put a rock on the, that's a pretty big rock, I think.
Right.
But we
pull this one out and move it down.
Well, we may, but we'll put one in here on the top of this, top of the root.
Okay.
Where's our mattock when we need it?
Yeah. Yeah, see this, doing all this and trying to lift this rock up is much better with a, this is not a good tool to be doing this with.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a nice rock. I hate to move that. Now we got a big hole there too.
Here. So you're making
this one here. See, this one's fairly flat on the other side.
Right.
See, it's right on top of that, the inside of that root there.
So you're not going to use the root after all the step?
Well, no. when you're trying to level this rock, you know, this is, you're playing around, it's like playing in a sandbox or something. And I got a root in there yet. So I'm kind of loosening up the dirt. You kind of see how the bottom looks? So I'm trying to match the ground with the bottom of that so I can get it in there. And then I want it to be slanted a little bit for flat anyhow. I mean, it'd be nice if we just brought rock out here from, you know, went to Home Depot. And,
no, that wouldn't be real.
But yeah, well, first of all, it's a long ways to bring rock. And, well, these rock, most of these rock came from the river.
Yeah.
We pulled them out when we were doing that, filling that hole underneath of it, around it. So, there's this rock out. Watch your hand there.
Yeah.
Okay. the backside's
Right
all.
here. Right there is where you want it. It'll fill in. Get better.
I think the rock is too pointed underneath.
See, no, there's where your space is there. See, it's getting there. Yeah. Not too bad. Try it, Bob. Not bad. I'm up here to 40,000.
Yeah, I'm wondering, most people are probably at this stage would come up here and skip the bottom when they step on that one.
Oh, you make it look too easy.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's coming down.
You gotta have
it's coming down that
yeah,
you can kill yourself. No, that's good. Nice and steady.
If we had a sledgehammer, we could put these in a little bit better. But I think right here we just...
It's in good shape. Like my son-in-law always
Okay.
said, we're not building church pews.
Yeah.
You might be one level short.
Well, see, we got a hump up there. You could always take it off too.
That's
Probably.
nice the way you use that root. Right?
8.
8.
8 or 8A. It might be 8A. I think that other one back there was. We missed one of these in the initial round. That's why they're.
So what? So just wrap me up.
Okay,
wrap up
you know, like any. Like I was saying earlier, we hate to put steps on a trail like this because it's fairly flat, and you want to try to avoid them. But here it's kind of something necessary. We have to get up out of this gully so that we're out of where the flood would go. And so a lot of times when you're doing this, you know, you have some rock available and you do something. So it was done initially. Then we did some other work and we had some rock left over that we pulled out of the river. And, you know, with an eye to use them here. So we kept them at the time. Isn't that right, John?
That's correct.
What do you think?
I think it's great.
Okay. So anyhow, it's something that, again, you have to find the rock. You have to use what you have. You just make the best you can with it. You want to get it in there solid enough so nobody gets hurt walking on it. But, you know, hopefully most people that are hiking a trail when it's wet, the whole trail will be a problem. So when they get here, hopefully they're cautious.
If you could just say something like, here's the finished, you know, here's the finished new one.
Okay, here's basically the finished product from the standpoint of putting some steps in to get out of this gully. What do you think?
It looks really good.
Yeah. Well, somebody was asking me before, when do we finish this trail? The real thing is you don't finish a trail. You just go from building to maintenance. So, and that's what we'll be doing over the next several months as we finish this up at the end of the year.
Well, and the reality is this will be flooding again. You can see how high the flood waters are.
Yeah.
We're hauling 4x4s. It'll be a challenge. 4x6.
Time for lunch.
You cannot not work.
This wasn't here when you came this way. The other side.
Where we're going to eat.
Yeah?
Let's eat.
Hey John, I guess you took care of your reroute.
All right, you can go ahead.
Yeah, mark on your right.
I'm having so much fun. It's hard to go back inside once you're outside.
Please. You can go ahead.
Don't wait for us, we're just getting some video here. So look at that, Matt.
We are rolling.
Okay, so could you tell me a little bit about your involvement with the beginnings of the Mountain to Sea Trail?
Sure.